As Dr. Heiser reveals the book of Hebrews to us, there came up a discussion in regards to wisdom as feminine. So in Luke 7, verse 31 through 35, Jesus himself states, quote, "But wisdom is vindicated by all her children," end quote. Is it fair to say that Jesus, the Son of Man, is referring he is one of wisdom's children? Is it possible that the Father God and Mother Wisdom begot the Word, whom created all things, as one of her children?
Well, if we went back to the prior sentence, that this idea that Jesus was one of wisdom's children, if you define wisdom as God himself, as another aspect or person, I'm using Godhead language here deliberately, and we're still talking about God, well, that would be another way of talking about Jesus as the Son of God. Okay, then you'd be okay. But following it up with Father God and Mother Wisdom, as though there's some sort of cosmic cohabitation here between two distinct entities, and the key word there is distinct entities, two ontologically distinct entities, and then producing Jesus, then there's a problem. And the problem really comes from reading gender terms in the translation, Proverbs 8 to Luke 7, whatever it is. Proverbs 8 is the origin point for a lot of this, when we have wisdom as being God's agent of creation, Proverbs 8:22 and following, and wisdom being referred to in feminine terms. So when we read that in translation, we think of wisdom as a woman, and that is the way in Proverbs that wisdom is cast. We have the wisdom as a woman, and then we have the woman known as folly. That these two are contrasted in Proverbs to teach certain precepts, certain ethics, standards of ethics and morals. Now you have to ask yourself, well, how do we parse that? Why is that done? I actually have a paper on this that's freely accessible online. If you go to www.thedivinecouncil, that's THEDIVINECOUNCIL.com, thedivinecouncil.com, and look for the paper entitled Jesus and the Wisdom Figure of Proverbs 8. Part of the issue is that this language, this feminine language, should not be confused with gender, okay, biological gender, so that we don't have a dad and a mom. Okay, when we talk about God and wisdom, we don't have that. We don't have this cosmic cohabitation that produces Jesus and all that sort of thing. The gender, the reason the translations are the way they are is because languages, inflected languages, those are languages that have like verb endings and noun endings, and then the endings have to match up for subject-verb agreement grammatically. Anybody who's had Spanish or German or French or Greek and Hebrew, for that matter, will know what I'm talking about here. Is English is not a gendered or an inflected driven language. English is largely driven by word order as opposed to a set of endings and whatnot. But other languages, lots of other languages, require grammatical gender for all words, all nouns, and what are called finite verb forms, so that you can match up a noun with the verb. You can tell what is the subject of the verb as opposed to what's the object of the verb. To do that, languages use grammatical gender. It has nothing to do with biological gender. My favorite illustration of this is in German. In German, das Mädchen, it's a term that means little girl, is neuter. It's grammatically neuter. Obviously, little girls are girls. They're not neuter, hermaphroditic, whatever. Okay, it's just a good illustration. But German, like Spanish, like French, like whatever, words for hammer, words for wall, words for straw, words for glass, words for corner, words for car, they all have gender. It has nothing to do with biology. And so we have to realize that this is just a classification system that languages share, and this is how they do it. Gender, number, is it singular, plural? Some languages have a dual, where you do it, you have a pair, not more than two, not one, just two. You have that separate numerical category. Gender, number are the big ones. You also have case, systems and whatnot. But these are all classification features of a language. It has nothing to do with biological gender. So if you realize that, you can read Proverbs 8, you can read statements about wisdom in other passages and know that we're not talking about a female entity. We're talking about a personification of a concept. Okay, in this case, wisdom cast as a woman by the writer for literary and rhetorical reasons, to communicate certain ideas. They're not hinting at, not trying to get us to think about biology and mothers and fathers and children in that sense, the sense that we're usually used to thinking about. So again, thedivinecouncil.com, look at the paper, Jesus and the Wisdom Figure, Proverbs 8. And again, that'll serve a little bit better, a little bit beyond this answer, at least in our episode here.